We're joined by Senator Jim Risch, a Republican from Idaho, a member of the Foreign Relations Committee. And Senator, want to ask you about the Israeli issue in just a moment. But first, I want to get your thoughts. We just saw the ink drying on this health care bill. What is the Republican message, and what are your thoughts really coming out of this?
Well, I agree with Kevin. First of all, I have a message for the president. This is not over. This is just beginning. What's happened here is you have this major piece of legislation. Unlike the last three social safety nets, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, those were starting a new system that was relatively simple. This bill, the 3,000 pages or whatever it was of it, sticks a federal finger into virtually every aspect of this part of our economy. It's the most personal thing to all of us. What they've done does not in any way lower costs or lower insurance premiums. Admittedly, they won in getting 32 million additional people covered, about 7% of the population, up from 87 to 94%. And they did it by taking $500 billion from people who could who they want to pay for it, and they took $500 billion from Medicare recipients. So that's how they did it. But this thing is a long ways from being over. We Republicans want to do what the American people want, and that is they want real health care reform that's going to reduce their costs. This bill doesn't do it.
Senator Risch, I want to turn your attention now to the issue of the Middle East and the American-Israeli relationship. I know you're going to be speaking to the American-Israel lobby group, AIPAC, later today. Is this relationship between these two strongest of allies, America and Israel, as frayed as it has ever been?
Well, no, not really. Look, we're friends. We are close friends. We are close allies. Friends have disagreements from time to time. And it isn't the disagreements that set the boundaries of what your relationship is. It's how you resolve those. And I think right now everybody is talking about, look, let's lower the rhetoric. We have the exact same objectives. Now, how you get to that objective, how you get to the bottom line, we may have a disagreement on that, but we're friends. We'll get through this. We've gotten through lots of other things before. We'll get through this. This hasn't in any way deteriorated the relationship between the United States and Israel.
How did you interpret Prime Minister Netanyahu's remarks last night? A lot of folks said this really seemed inflammatory to be talking about these settlements and not backing down in any way on the new housing units in East Jerusalem.
Right, well, you know, I sat and listened to it. I've met with him privately a number of times, and I know where his heart is on these matters. You have to remember, first of all, that what's going on in Jerusalem is going on right there within their country. They have a strong interest in seeing that it's their views that come to fruition there. So we need to be very cautious about how we tell them how to do their business. Having said that, again, it's important that we all pull the wagon together.
So what should President Obama, what is the message Obama should bring to Netanyahu in the Oval Office when they meet privately later today?
Well, I think it should be just what I've just said, and that is, look, we're friends, we're allies. We are very, very close. We share the exact same objectives, and that's peace.
But you said we shouldn't tell them what to do. Shouldn't President Obama spell out what we want to see them to do in this meeting?
Well, you misread a little bit about what I said. I didn't. I am saying we shouldn't tell them what to do. We can certainly suggest it, and how that's done is really important. Poking your finger in somebody's chest and saying, look, do this and don't do that, isn't a good way to move the agenda forward. So the president knows how to do this. He's been at this a while, and I suspect that he and Netanyahu are going to have, knowing both of them, they're going to have a very frank discussion. And it's important that it be done in a room with the doors closed. I think that'll be very helpful.
The announcement from the Israelis that got all the attention happened while Vice President Biden was in Israel at the time. A lot of folks, including Tom Friedman of the New York Times, said that Vice President Biden should have immediately gotten on Air Force Two and flown home. What did you make of the way that he responded to that and that the administration responded to that initial announcement?
I thought that the vice president rose to the occasion. Certainly it was a faux pas on the part of the Israelis. They acknowledged that it was a faux pas, but these things happen. I mean, you know, every one of us are subject to having things happen to us that shouldn't happen to us. But the vice president, I think, very wisely handled the situation, accepted the apology, ratcheted down the language, and the rhetoric. I think he handled it. I think he handled it very well, and we do need to move on.
Hey, Senator, I know that you're not a fan of this health care bill that just got signed into law, but
That's an understatement.
In our last 30 seconds, is it beneficial to President Obama's relationship to world leaders that they can see him get a big accomplishment?
I don't know whether it's a benefit to him or not. Certainly, people like to deal with strong leaders. When you have a success, obviously that makes the leader stronger. Whether or not this is a success, that jury's still out on that question.
And Senator, just briefly, you're in favor of a full repeal. Is that what you'd like the message to be
Not at
coming
all.
out of this? No?
Not at all. There's some things in this bill that we Republicans really like. Pool purchasing, portability. Those are the kinds of things that are really important to Americans. I believe in repeal of the vast majority of that bill, but I really think we should leave in place the things that are good. In addition to that, we should work together in a bipartisan fashion and craft in an appropriate cost-cutting measures.
All right, Senator Jim Risch, Republican of Idaho, thank you for joining us and bearing with us on a little bit of a hectic day here in Washington. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Senator.
Thank you.
Well, Rick, as you said, the ink is now drying on that bill. The president goes off to another pep rally, but the politics continues.
And you know it, and you can get it all here. It's twitter.com/thenote. We'll be back at our set tomorrow. I'll even have my mug back. Promise.